2, 1. Here we are. Good evening on this very cold night. A warm welcome to you. It's the ILFL Soccer Night Show here on a Monday night. And we have some interesting stats and facts to go through this week based on the football that happened yesterday and last week. As we said, there was the Veterans Cup that took place last Thursday, and the league programme yesterday has now thrown up some interesting comment, let's say, and that comment is going to be had between myself and none other than Rashid Ali, who's in the studio this evening. And before I get to the results, and we are going to talk about the Veterans League, the Veterans Cup last week, but first I just want to give everyone a little bit of a taste out there, Rash, regarding the Veterans Cup last week. It was great to have 4 pitches going, at last, 4 pitches going.
Wow, it's brilliant. 16 teams, one venue. Cup games. To be honest, I was quite surprised with the intensity, the passion, the drive. I know that the first games were quite mild and composed, but because they knew second and third games are vitally important for qualification to the quarterfinal, the intensity and the passion and drive just increased or doubled, I should say. And I, unfortunately, being in a situation I had to referee a couple of the games, I saw
you
that.
Enjoyed it.
Well, I wouldn't say I enjoyed it, but I saw I actually felt like putting my boots on as well, because I kind of enjoyed the atmosphere. The groups I was dealing with, London Tigers, Bromley, Workhouse and Abu Hani, what a group.
Intense group.
It was very intense. I think we underestimated the intensity because Abu Hani upped their game. I've never seen them play that good. Bromley, I know they're in Division 1, but they played like Premiership.
They're a cup team, yeah.
Workhouse, yes, they're top of Division 2, but they played like they meant business. Therefore, you know what, this is where we want to be. Tigers being Tigers, we know they've got the history, the champions, won the cup so many times, won the Premier League so many times. Obviously, they had a record and the cup to retain, so they were up for it. So it was full of intense, passion and sometimes I thought, wow, if only our Sunday teams can see this. They need to come down and see it, David.
Do you know something? It was mentioned, there were some people spectating there last Thursday, and I heard that very same comment again. Why can't the Sunday football be as intense and as passionate as it is on Thursday? And I mean, there's lots of reasons why we can go into that. But you mentioned Workhouse, and I was on the other pitch where I watched ELS, and I have to say, as we predicted, they were not an easy team to break down. And they're better than just a team that retains the ball. They can hurt you.
You know what? They are such an unpredictable team. I think the image doesn't. When you look at them, they think, they don't look like players. They are so good, because I did the first game, and they were so unlucky to lose to St. Catherine's Vets because they dominate possession. Thing with them, I see the only problem I see with them is that sometimes, be like Arsenal, they want to, pass the ball even when they
a little bit too, but yes, in front of the goal.
They don't want to score. They say, no, let's go back again and come back again. And the possession and skill they have, it's a delight to have them, and it's really refreshing to see them the way they play. And the added fact is, I don't hear them complaining. I don't see them chasing the referees down. I don't hear any shouting and abusing. It's all relaxed, calm, composed, and they played really good football. They didn't get the results they wanted, but in terms of watching them, the quality of play, I think they're one of the teams. Again, it's very refreshing, and I hope they're more successful and come to upper divisions from Division 2.
Like I said, we'll talk more and more in depth about the Vets League and what's going to happen this week as well. But just very briefly to finish off from last week, just a couple of questions. There wasn't a lot of difference between Prem and Second Division in the quality and the standard of the teams, was there?
Well, in some games, I would say yes. I think Workhouse wanted to prove a point, and I think they did that in the second and third game. Only thing I would say negative is probably they lacked that experience, because obviously they haven't played with these kind of pace games, this kind of physicality. I think the physicality is a bit more in the Premiership than Division 2. In Division 2, you don't get that physical game, whereas you do in Premiership. So I think they needed to adjust that in the second and third game, which they did. But I think they were a bit held back or surprised with the pace of games. But to be honest with them, obviously we'll look at the results. In the second and third game, they maintained their level and actually matched the other Premiership sides. So for them, I think their goal was to qualify, and I'm sure we'll see the results. They did that. So as we said, in the cup games, it's anyone game. It's on the day. It's a matter of who turns up and who wants it more. But I must say it was very enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to next week, looking at the quarterfinals and the games, because we've got now the times increased to 15 minutes each way. It's a 30 minutes game. You've got the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. So obviously teams with more fitter players, more stronger, hopefully will be more successful, and it should be a bit more intense because you're so close to getting to the final.
It is indeed. And my second question and last one was, without giving too much away before we show the slides, are we a little bit surprised by the teams that have got through to the quarter-final? Are we surprised, maybe not so much by who's there, but by who's not there?
Well, obviously, we don't want to give that away, but I'm sure once you see that, I don't think there's been too many shocks. There are 1 or 2 shocks which we'll discuss in further details. But to be honest, overall, I think 80%, 90% of the teams we expected to go through to the quarterfinals have been successful, because at the end quality does show. But there are 1 or 2 teams that will be very disappointed that or surprised that they didn't get through as they were expected in terms of favourites, etc.
Indeed. That was a quick snippet of the Vets League as it is. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at the results from yesterday's Sunday football. Here it is on the screen for you right now. 3 games in the Premier Division. Beaumont, must have been a great game. We said it's always that great fixture up and down the years. Beaumont beating Stepney by 1-0. We'll go in depth into that a little bit more. A big game between Bromley and Ace as well. Cracking game, good match. Ace winning it by 2-1. All the goals scored in the first half, and that was that. Ace maintaining a winning streak. But then look at this, great result as well for Robin Hood Tigers, holding Reach Out to a 1-1 draw. Neither of us were there at the game, but I cannot for 1 minute assume that Reach Out had a bad day. We have to put that down to a great Tigers performance.
We've said that on several weeks on
you
the show.
You said that last week, when Tigers lift it.
Robin Hood Tigers is a very good side, but what I like about them is that they have quality, the skills. They've got young youth, fresh legs, fast players, and they can play good football. It was just in the summer, in the last season, I think the punctuality, getting the first 11, once they address that, they'll be a match for anyone. They can play football. So I'm assuming, obviously I wasn't there yesterday, I'm assuming they all turned up and, they gave Reach Out a match, basically. And I'm not totally surprised because they can do that. It's just a matter of once they get there. So yeah, that's not surprising to be honest.
Beaumont beating Stepney?
There is, I know in the early part of the season, I know there's a new management. Arif is the new manager for Beaumont. I know Abidou Gulza helped him out. And I know he had a lot of injuries in the first couple of weeks, hence I think the results didn't go away. But he's got a lot of new players, he's looking at different ways, different tactics, and that's the 4 wins in a trot now. And against Stepney, they always managed to get a draw, or Stepney always managed to get the one over Beaumont, but this time round, Arif managed to get successful. I think he's slowly, in behind the scenes, quietly picking up the points, and I think establishing himself and getting the team ready. So
psychologically for Beaumont, that's a good result.
It's a massive result because obviously it's a new management and it's complete. He has got so many new players. They're unfamiliar with the older players. So for him to get those within 4 or 5 weeks is a big achievement. So hopefully in the coming weeks or next week when they've got a big test in the League Cup, we should see where they are in terms of where will they be end of the season? Can they achieve the cup? Because Beaumont always has a good cup run, so we'll see what he does next week. Ace,
great result. They are looking ominous. Big couple of weeks coming up for Ace, which we'll talk about in a little while. But they hit Bromley with 2 early goals, and they just look the part, don't they?
I think this is the key thing for Ace because they are a good side. Unfortunately, in the recent seasons, always been a second place runners up in the Winter League, be a Summer League, in the Cups, etc. So I think if they take each game and try and maintain that, not drop points here and there, which really affects them in the season. Beating Bromley, that's a big result. They've been maintaining their form, getting the results, and hopefully, this season they should be challenging because they're an established side. Hassan is an established manager. He knows these players. You've had them for years. They've got good quality. It's just a matter of finishing line. It's just getting to the end. So during the season, he has a little dip, and that affects him in the seasons. Hopefully, if he maintains and continues like that, I can see them challenging in the season. But as we said, in the next couple of weeks, we should see how things develop because I think when it comes to end of November, December, that's when a lot of the quality shows and teams fold or crack under pressure.
Into the First Division now. Let's take a look at the results from the First Division games on the screen. Oh, do you know what? I'll just read them out to you because it's just there it is. It's just a little bit late, but there it is in the end. Well done. AMY beating Bow by 3-1. That's kind of changed the fortunes around. AMY couldn't buy a goal or a win earlier this season. Bow started well. flick the switch, and there we go. Amy now finding their feet and getting their results. It's silly season in the first division again yesterday. Burdett 4, Arsenal 4. Arsenal just can't get that second win of the season. Got to find a way of stop leaking those goals, and they'll pick up points, as we've always said. 13 goals scored in a game between Esprit and Redcoat. Now, let's just say Redcoat are top of the division, and knocking 8 goals past the team, okay, maybe we might expect. But Esprit has scored 5 against the team that are top, and nobody has scored that many goals against Redcoat this season. If you score 5 against the team at the top, you have to expect to win that game. Lotus scoring 3 against Seoul Youth. Again, Seoul Youth having one of those shaky games as well, but they've ground it out and winning a 7-goal thriller. And then right down at the bottom, we come back to a respectable scoreline, which is Stepney B1, PYO 3. PYO look to be trying to claw their way back into contention at the top of the division. So what does that mean for everybody? Let's look at the Premier Division table as it stands right now. Reach Out are top. They didn't play yesterday. They played a game more than their title contenders at the moment. Ace, Stepney and Beaumont now are 2nd, 3rd and 4th respectively, 15, 13 and 12 points. So with 4 points covering the top 4, and those 3 in 2nd, 3rd and 4th having a game in hand over Reach Out, it sets it up very nicely. And let's not forget the Robin Hood Tigers, who are there waiting for anybody to slip up so that they can pounce into the first division. As you see, Redcoat are top, 19 points from their 7 games and scoring an awful lot of goals, 39 goals in 7 games. Seoul Youth, like we said, had 2 early defeats, but have not lost since. 5 games on the bounce now. They've won. They're up into 2nd place on 15 points, with PYO a game in hand over the 2 of them on 13. And let's not forget Esprit. They were here on the show last week. They said it's their first season. They're a new team, but they're looking to do very, very well indeed. 4th place, 9 points off the top. But hey, any finish in the top half is going to be respectable for them, wouldn't you agree?
Definitely. For a new team, I think it's just finding your feet is a priority, getting used to the system, the league, the players, familiarizing with the system, etc. To be 4th, they would have snatched you off your hands at the beginning of the season. So, best of luck to them for the end of the season.
Okay, I want to talk about what's going to be happening this Sunday. We're going to run through it. We can talk about it a little bit in this section. We're going to expand on it a little bit more in the next section as well. It's the ILFL League Cup. Now we have 16 teams who are going to be battling it out. Here are the fixtures on the screen for you right now. We ran through them in detail a couple of weeks ago. Based on the results that we've seen from yesterday, we're again going to have a look and maybe pick out 1 or 2. So now, Redcoat versus London Tigers, we said is going to be a key fixture. It's now time for Redcoat to test themselves against Premier Division. But if they're going to leak goals like that in their own division,
I think that's my concern. So to concede 5 goals when you're dominating, winning, 8-5. Obviously, offensively, attacking-wise, you're good, but 5 goals it'll be a sign, because Tigers are a very good side. Yes, the season hasn't been going as expected, or things have not gone to plan. But at the end of the day, they are champions, an established club. They're a massive club, and I'm sure. League Cup will be something they'll say, no, we need to kick our season. This could be the turning point. So it's not best a time for Redcoat to play against Tigers. But saying that, Tigers, Redcoat, top of the division, winning every week, scoring a lot of goals. And if you want to play in the Premiership, this is a perfect test for them, and saying this is the level we want to play. Let's try ourselves against them. So it should be a very cracking game for both sides for various reasons.
It should be indeed. And now with Beaumont playing Reach Out now up against Cup, this is actually a good game for Beaumont, I think. Now they've seen Reach Out stutter. We'll use the word stutter against Robin Hood Tigers. They've got a morale boosting victory against Stepney. Good time to come up.
Yeah, I think so, because what it is, I know the management, I was there when they played each other 5 weeks ago, and they lost 4-2, I believe. And even that game, they actually played really well, but Reach Out was a different level. And they outdone them. So they've got this revenge thing in their mind. This is a point. So they say, you know what, you got lucky last time. This time we're going to prove a point. I think they want to make a point. So you know what, we want revenge. So this should be another cracking game. And being in good form, 4 wins in a trot, playing against expected title winners, Reach Out. I think they will be raising the games. Reach Out themselves, being a quality side, will want to get a hand on the trophy itself. So this should be a cracking game. But what I'm looking out forward is Bromley and Stepney, because that, again, with the history between the teams, should be a very intense.
It will
Probably
indeed.
not doing so well in the league, know that Cup. Again, Bromley, another side, does quite successful in the Cup games, or always go to the latter stages. So they'll be saying, you know what, this time let's forget the league, let's concentrate on this game and the Cup itself and try and win it. So this should be a very good game as well.
And obviously a spirit of playing to guarantee a first division side in the next round. Who can you see from the first division making it?
To be honest, that's a tough one. Bow, I like the way they've organised, the way they turn up, etc. Warm up, spirit, a new club, a bit of hunger there, a bit of this desire to do well, prove a point. So it could go either way. In Cup games, as we saw on the Vets and other Cup games, it's on the day, the hunger and whoever turns up and prepared. So to me, that could be a very close game, to be honest.
It could be indeed. My money's still on PYO beating Hawk and Eagle, but hey, I'm saying it quietly. We're going to be back in the second part of this show to discuss the League Cup, the Veterans Cup and more here on the ILFL Soccer Night Show. We'll be back.